So, what question should I start with? What question should I start this podcast with? That's what I asked my heart. And the answer it gave me is the question that I just asked you. So, welcome back to the podcast for love. Today I have May 5th. No, May 12th. But May is the 5th month, so my brain mixes these up. But today is full moon. And that is also why I create this podcast, more or less. Because why am I doing what I am doing? Oh, I actually realized we need some light. Oh, baby! Look at that. Um, yeah. Sorry for the guys just listening. I forgot to turn on my ring light. So now we have good quality also for the video, like good lighting on my face, on my pretty face. Anyway, back to the full moon. I'm recording this episode today because it's full moon. And the original idea of this podcast is that I upload it every full moon and every new moon. And I did so on the first episode. I had the second episode ready, so I could upload that. And then I had kind of a hole, to be honest. I kind of dropped down into old patterns, losing self love, losing self worth, just, yeah, wishing to disappear. So I didn't record any podcast. And now I realized, already a month later, and I still don't have the episode to upload today. So that's why I sit here and record another podcast episode. Or maybe that's not where it started. So the actual question that I would love to answer today is, how can we get back into our prime? How can we come back or actually access it for the very first time? Because yes, I had a prime phase in my life, but that prime phase is not where I'm heading now. But the question is, how can we start to move again once we stand still? Because, to be honest, I can tell you exactly what it feels like. You just start by avoiding one specific task, by avoiding one specific topic. What have I been avoiding? I have been avoiding creating an offer to actually coach clients online. I have been avoiding planning out my cacao ceremonies and my circles and retreats and stuff that I want to create. So essentially, I was scared that I'm gonna succeed. All right. So that's where it started for me this time. And then what happened? After we avoid a certain thing, we actually know we should do it and we know it's good for us probably, but we still don't do it. So now our brain tries to forget about that because we chose not to do it. We don't want that. We don't want that in our lives. So now it's about, all right, how can we continue? But the thing is, how can you continue without doing the thing that you actually know you should do? That's quite hard. So for me, what happens next is I just start avoiding everything. I start avoiding cooking, cleaning, eating. I just drop into a hole. And what I use in that hole to kind of make me feel okay with being miserable is weed. Tetrahydrocannabinol. The wonderful Mary Jane. I can't really tell if it saved my life or if it is destroying it, because I've actually never looked at this way. I love, that's why I love these podcasts. I'm literally learning with you. So yeah, it's really about this pattern of avoidance I have and how I grab the cannabis and the weed, because the weed allows me to feel good while being miserable. Or actually, it allows me to not realize that I'm feeling miserable, because it helps me to run away. It helps me to disappear. It helps me to forget. It helps me to avoid. And that's the big word, avoidance. What do you not want to see? What do you not want to hear? What are you still running away from today? What is it? What is it that you're running away from? What is it that is scaring you? I'll go first. I'm scared of being seen. Because in this lifetime, I have learned that whenever someone sees me, they judge me. They hate me. They try to pull me down. Because the thing is, when you come into this life with a sole purpose as intense as mine, I mean, I'm here to change the school system. I'm here to aid and support the global awakening of this planet. So when you have big missions that your soul is calling for like that, your life is not going to be easy, because challenges help you to get better. Challenges help you grow. How can you climb without a mountain that you have to climb? It's really about those struggles. And even though you don't realize that you are climbing mountains, and you have been climbing mountains your whole life, even though you don't realize that, you're still doing it because it just happens. It happens for you. But the thing that we and I and you have to realize is that all these things that happen for you are there to teach you something. But you need to be willing to learn that lesson. Otherwise, you can't learn it. Like, yeah, duh. So while you are running away, while you are in those patterns of avoidance, you are not living in alignment with your soul mission and your soul purpose. Because you're essentially running away from the thing that you are here to do. And the interesting thing about that is, running away from the thing you really want to do can look extremely different for people. Running away from the thing you really want to do can look like a successful lawyer that's been working as a lawyer for 20 years. But actually, he just really wants to make some jewelry. Or anything else. But something that we see a lot is, or that I see a lot in our in the generations that I'm in, is sex, parties, drugs. And as soon as you are in a partnership and your other half, your sex partner, your what do I know it is, as soon as you start to have struggles, as soon as your own toxic patterns come up for you to start looking at them and realize and heal, you blame the other person and you go on to the next one. Because the next body will help you forget for just a while. The next joint will help me forget for just a while. And that's something I realized this time. I'm not really smoking weed to get high. I'm smoking weed because I want to smoke the joint. So it's actually about the action that I'm doing and about the fact that performing that action feels so good to me. Whew. So while I perform that action and while I'm busy smoking weed, I don't feel bad because I feel good smoking weed. I just feel worse every time when the joint is finished. And I don't know what it might look for you, but someone that's using another person's body to escape might just feel drained and empty after sex, even though it should be something so magical. It should be something so energizing, so vital. You're literally merging auras with another person. Like, how crazy even is that? You're energetically speaking, you're not two individuals, you're one. You're literally connecting, all of you. It's just the same. And it separates again. But you take of their stuff and they take of your stuff. So if that other person has a lot of trauma, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness or whatever, that will come onto you. And you will feel angry and sad and whatever. But to be honest, that was never your energy to begin with. But the fact that it feels so good doing the thing is what gets us to do it once more. Because all we know is how good that thing is. All our brain knows is that that thing feels so good. Well, let me tell you one secret. It's about, well, actually, I'm telling me this secret now. It's about teaching your brain that other things feel even better. That feeling of going to sleep knowing you have done everything you have to do today, knowing you have made progress, knowing you have learned and you have grown again today. Going to bed with that feeling? Woo, amazing. But that's no instant gratification. To feel like that at night, we have to have a productive day. And by just having one productive day, we're not solving it. Because it's about the consistency and stacking onto it. And one thing that actually shifted my whole perspective, I always thought, I have to do this every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Like I have to read every day, I have to work out every day, I have to blah, 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 blah. And yes, there are some things that you should be doing every day. I mean, you should be eating every day. So you should also be eating good food for you, like healthy, organic. Um, yeah, what find out what works for your body type, what works for you. Like, yes, I can tell that loads of sugar and highly processed foods are not good for you, no matter what your body type and how you work and how you digest and how all that works. But if you should be eating more eggs or if you should be like eating less cheese, or if beets are really good for you, or if you thrive on a diet of meat and vegetables, or I don't know what works for you. You just have to figure it out. What I know, what works for me is eating food that has life inside, like an apple, like all the vegetables, all the fruit. For me, there's also life inside honey, to be honest. There's, yeah, there's life in there. And you can actually get that energetically speaking. You're not getting any life energy from a dead piece of meat. Like, there ain't no potential to grow and live. There's no energy in a dead piece of meat because the energy has already left that body long before it was cut up and sliced and perfectly prepared for you to fry it in a pan. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat meat. I'm just saying that for me, I thrive on a vegetarian diet. I thrive on that. And I went fully vegan in my life and I tried that. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that if you go vegan, you should be aware that there are certain things, certain minerals and parts that your body needs that are hard to get from a vegan diet because it just isn't in as many foods that are plant based. But if you do your research properly and if you know what these things and these nutrients are, you can adapt. You can eat more of foods which contain these nutrients or you can supplement them. So if you go out and about it right and prepared, and if you are willing to commit and learn about how to be vegan and healthy, then yeah, you should go for that. I don't know where I started. I hope this makes sense now. Sometimes I just, while I speak, my brain just completely. Actually, I speak from my heart, and then my brain tries to understand what I'm saying, and that throws me off. Uh, isn't that funny? As long as I just talk, as long as I just allow this flow to flow, I know where I want to go. And once I want to understand what I'm actually saying, I lose the flow because I try to analyze. I try to stop. Wait, what is going on? But it's not about stopping, it's about flowing. I just recently, today actually, had this thought of the concept of grinding, right? You have this hustle culture. You have to grind to become rich. It has to be a hustle, right? It's like, "Grr." But it's not about that. It's not about grinding harder. Why do I want to grind harder? Man, I want to flow softer. I want to move with the galactic rhythms of life. I want to allow my spirit guides, God, Source, and my heart to guide me. I want to be open to all of the beauty that awaits me. But you don't need to analyze. You don't need to understand. You need to live, my friend. like really, you need to live. Just live. Live and be you. Live and be free. Live to be alive. I just remember a video, a reel I just watched right before I started recording, actually. And she spoke about how everything starts to get brighter again. The plants are greener, the sky is blue or more blue than before. Um, just everything feels like as if we were children again. And then she goes on explaining and blah, 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 blah. But what is that really about? I'm doing it with my own words now, of course. What is that? This everything feels like a child. Because I think one thing we all can agree on is everyone wants to be a child again. Or maybe not a child, but it would be nice to feel the way that children felt. All of that excitement, all of that joy, all of that pleasure, all of that intensity. Why is that? Why are children so incredibly vibrant? I mean, a child can cry because it has to leave the playground. Because it loves playing so much that when mom tells her or him, now we have to go home, the child might start crying because it still wants to play. And it doesn't know if it can come back tomorrow or whatever. It also doesn't think about that. It's just there. Oh, I'm having a whole lot of fun. And now mom tells me that we have to go. So the fun is over. And it might snap like that. But where is that coming from? Why are children able to feel so deeply? To perceive everything and be amazed by little bugs crawling and everything? You might be telling me now, oh, because they have never seen it. If you ask me, it's because they're fully present. Because their mind, their ego, their program that's running up here in the conscious mind, it hasn't been written, or it's just starting to write itself. So there aren't a lot of thoughts that children can think. Children don't think about the consequences because they don't care what will happen. They want to experience it. Like, best example is mom is telling you, don't touch the stove, it's hot. Well, you won't know what it means that it's hot and it burns until you actually touch it and it burns, you know? I even had a little plastic pig that I put onto. Is it called a stove? It feels wrong. Stove is an oven, I think. I mean that plate in the kitchen, you know? Like this thing you put your pan on to cook. Yeah. I put my little plastic pig on there and it melted. So I saw that happen and I technically realized, all right, this has to be hot, otherwise this wouldn't happen. But I still had to touch the plate to know it's hot, you know? And I believe that's what it's truly about, experiencing. That's why we sometimes go and ask our friends for help and then do the exact opposite of what we ask them to do. Because when we ask somebody else, for me personally, oftentimes when I ask someone what I should do, it's because I know that I should be doing this, but I actually want to do that. And it's actually loads of fun. I mean, imagine you're asking your guides, you're asking your spirit guides. Spirit guides are friends. What it goes in the same, right? You're asking someone for guidance, for clarity. Oh, please tell me, what should I do? Should I do with this situation? I don't know what's the best decision. Please tell me what's right. Should I go left? Should I go right? And then they answer. And they go, "Ah, you should go right." And you look at them and you're like, but I really want to go left. Well, you didn't ask the other person for their opinion. You asked the other person because if they are telling you to do the thing that you know isn't good, then you have confirmation that you should do it. And that's why you're still gonna do it, even if that person is telling you to do the other exact opposite. Because you need to experience experience it. You want to know what happens. Oftentimes, it's not enough to just. I don't know what words I'm using. Actually, it's not enough to just know. You need to experience it and then understand it. There we go. Because knowledge is one layer of it. You have information coming in. And if you gather information in the right order, in the right formation, it's literally in the word, then you create knowledge. And from that knowledge that you have attained, you can go out and have experiences. And once you actually applied the knowledge and experienced something with it, that is when you understand. Woo! I really have to go pee, so I'm gonna cut and we see each other in a bit. Woo. So, back we are on this lovely seat. You might be wondering, what happened to the Louis Vuitton chair I was sitting on the other 2 episodes? Well, it's not in this house. I'm in a different place. I'm currently in the Engadine and not in Zurich. I'm in the mountains because I just, with my parents, because I just really needed some fresh air, some sun. And just, yeah, I needed to get out of my pattern that I was in. Because the thing is, objects in motion stay in motion. So when you are in this whole pattern, when I am in this whole pattern, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I was smoking like 10 grams of weed in 3 days. Like excessive use of it. Really like misused the substance to just disconnect me so far from the reality that I didn't have to act. Which actually made me feel even more uncomfortable because your life is trying to get you to do the thing that you should be doing. That's why you're gonna start to feel pressured when you're not doing something. Either you apply pressure and you want to get somewhere and you start moving, or life will try to get you moving. And that's really interesting actually. Because like have you ever been smacked by the universe? Like I mean smacked by the universe. Like really. Why does that happen? Because we don't listen. So, all right, because we don't listen. So that means that the universe, our guides, they're actually trying to tell us something before they smack us. They're not just smacking us because they like it and they're having fun. Well, they actually are having fun and smacking us. But yeah, they start gentle. They start with a pull, like feeling coming in, a brief, gentle intuition. I don't know, telling, oh, you really shouldn't do this. It just doesn't feel right for us. Come on, let's not do this. And then it goes on and it goes on and it gets more and gets more until they smack you. And let me tell you a story about that. So, I have throughout my life been a person that always had struggles with saying and telling people no. Because I was scared that if I tell people no, they were not gonna like me, and if they're not gonna like me, then I'm you know, it goes down that road. But yeah, I'm in a topic that's relevant for me. That's why I forget what I'm speaking about. So, as I have trouble saying no, I just usually say yes to everything. Now that I get more offers, and it's actually offers that I'm having fun doing, I also like to say yes, and I started to say no to other things. So I had this plan I was telling my friend like months ago already because they had an event. Let me start the story right. If you're still listening, thank you. Thank you that you're catching up with my brain. I can imagine that it's quite tricky to like get with me after my jumps. Well, you tell me actually. Maybe you're able to follow me perfectly. So, a friend of mine is DJing and he is resident at a techno label. And that techno label had their first gig in Berlin. So they had an event in Berlin, and of course, they need to get there. They have material, they have stuff, they have DJs, they have artists, so they need someone to drive them. And I like to dance. So in my brain, I was like, well, if I drive them, I get a free place to stay and I get a free entrance in the club in Berlin. And because I don't drink alcohol, I can actually have a blast of a time spending barely nothing on it. So that was my big reason to go. That's why I tried to like grab in and be there. And I already had that spot. And I signed it, or no, I didn't sign it, but we checked off on it. Me and my friend, we were like, yeah, let's do this. I'm driving you. Perfect. Thank you for being our driver. Blah 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 blah. So time moves, and I'm starting to feel the sickness coming in, like nasty cough and just yeah, loads of snother coming out of my nose, and just feeling not feeling at my best. And because I knew I have this um, event in Berlin that I'm gonna be driving to the next week, I was like, all right, let's go easy, let's heal, let's take it slow, and then I still go out to party on that weekend. So after partying, all of a sudden, I'm coughing more again and I'm feeling worse. So, all right, let's do another week where I'm just not like let's go into healing, let's relax, let's make sure we're healthy for that weekend. And I was still not 100% healthy. But I like forced myself to do it because I was like, oh, but I told my friend I'm gonna do it, and I know I have to do it, and they're trusting on me, and they need me, and blah 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 blah. This was the story I was telling me, right? So I go and get everything, and I prepare, and on the day that we drive to Berlin, in the morning, I get everything ready, I prepare myself, I get my bum 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 bum, and as I'm ready to move, as I'm ready to leave the house, I get a nosebleed. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm already in a rush. I'm kind of too late to get them. And now I have a nosebleed. I don't have time for this. So I just kind of close my nose, hold it close. Actually, if you're having a nosebleed, like hold and close your nose, like right after the bones of your nose. You have the soft part that you can squeeze, and you have the hard part of the bone that you cannot squeeze. And if you have a nosebleed, you have to really close your nose, apply quite a bit of pressure right after the bones. It might feel a bit uncomfortable, but believe me, you do this for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and the nosebleed is gone. Bye bye. So I did that, I washed my hands and everything, and then I got ready and I went on the way. We start going. All right, I'm there. I pick the first people up, I meet them, we say hello to each other, we get to go to get the last person. They get in, everything's loaded, we're all ready. We're like, oh, let's go. Now we have a 9-hour drive. Let's get to Berlin. Let's get ready. Yeah, because all of, or most of the people in the car were actually DJing the next night. So yeah, I was like, okay, let's go. And as I start driving, my stick shift, it was a manual car, that stick, as I turn on the engine, that stick goes, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm putting it in the first gear and I'm kind of starting, but it feels kind of hard to move that stick. And I'm like, what the? So I get to the first red light and I turn off the engine again, get it in first gear, restart the engine. shift, second gear, not even getting into the second gear. So now I'm in the middle of the street, still having some speed from accelerating, but like realizing, well, I'm not going anywhere with this car. Like, how am I gonna drive if I cannot put it in the gears? That was definitely the universe telling me the second time on that day, are you sure you want to go to Berlin? Because my first thought when that happened was, I'm not supposed to go to Berlin. I'm not supposed to get up there this time. I'm supposed to stay here in Zurich and just have a good weekend and relax. Well, did I do that? Nope. I was like, all right, let's figure out how we can solve this problem. Because after that intuition, after that gentle push came in, my ego came up. But I have promised this and I have to do it and I need to pull through and blah, 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 blah. And without me, they will never get there. And, you know? Ugh. So I continue. And we figure out the solution. We get a different car, and then we drive to the parents of a friend, and we get another bus there because the car we had was just way too small for 5 people, and a 9 hour drive in a like no, it wouldn't be comfortable at all. So we go get that bus, that other bus that we can use, that little VW van, and yeah, we load everything, but we had a little period of rest there, right? Because we have to unload one car, load the other car, and talk to the parents and just have a drink, drink some water, and what do I know? And as I'm sitting there, my friend even goes, I don't want to go to Berlin. Can't we just stay here? And he's DJing that night. So there it goes. The universe, my guides, preparing another option for me to back out and be like, you know what? You're right. I really think we shouldn't go to Berlin. I really think this, like, for me, it's not it. Did I do it? No, of course not. Because I want to go left. I want to go left. I didn't learn the lesson. So we ride up. I ride up all the way to Berlin. Got in the car in the morning at 9 in the morning, and we arrived in Berlin at fucking 1:30 a.m. I was on the road for about 14, 15 hours. Of course, we had breaks and everything, but there was a long ass day on the road. And I'm very happy that we all survived and we all arrived. Yeah, so we're there. We go up, we enter into the apartment that we're gonna stay in, and as soon as I enter, I just, yeah, felt kind of an energy shift because there were some other people in that room that really, they just like to attack for no reason. Like they would rather make you feel uncomfortable so they can feel better about themselves because they have a lack of awareness and they project everything onto you. So yeah, these kind of people sit in that room, right? And it's this, I don't know what it's like. Sticky. I would describe it sticky, sticky, slimy energy, kind of. So I get in there and I'm like, no, oh no. But of course, I just finished my drive. We're there. I'm getting my joint now. I deserve a joint. I really need that, right? Like it's interesting how we tell ourselves these stories. Um, so I go and we smoke a joint up there, and all of a sudden, two more people come into the apartment at 2 a.m. on a Thursday night, and I was just not. For me, it was like, but I'm trying to go to sleep in a bit. Like how am I gonna sleep if there are 6 people in the living room? Like what? It's a 2 or 3 room apartment, right? Um, so I finished the joint. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep. So I went to the bathroom, got myself ready, walked through the living room, was like, I'm gonna go to sleep, guys. Boom, into the room, close the door, turn off the light, go to sleep. Try to sleep. Not even 5 minutes later, maybe 10, there are a couple is coming in that was also driving up with us and is also staying there for that night because their Airbnb is only open and available the next day. So they enter, they turn on the light, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I'm trying to sleep in here, and I look at them like, yeah, what are you guys doing here? And they look at me like, ah, yeah, the other guy said we can sleep in here, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to sleep in here. And they're looking at me all confused, like, what are we gonna do now? And then it was all clear for me in that moment. I like open up the door and I'm like, my boy, over half of the people in this apartment want to sleep. So it is time for the other 2 to leave. And I didn't even speak about them with their names. I was just like, and I never kicked someone out actually in my life. Like I didn't do that, right? So I was like, whoa, leaving my comfort zone so bad there. And I'm coming out and I'm like looking at them, and yeah, they understood. They started to get ready and started to get moving. So my friend who realized I was just hella tired. I had a 16-hour drive or 15-hour, whatever, right? It was a long ass day. So he goes, ah, maybe you want to go down to the car, like get some air, like just have a quick walk, be by yourself. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. So I walk down, and as I come back up, the 2 people that I told to leave are still in the living room. They're not even, are not just in the living room, they're actually laying on the bed that I want to sleep in now. They're laying on the air mattress that was supposed to be the place where I go to sleep now. So I really lost it. I'm like, you know what? You out now. Kind of like that. And yeah, that felt amazing to be honest when they actually left. I was like, whoo, I really did it. I really kicked them out. Man, it's not as bad as I thought. So yeah, I go to lay down, I start to fall asleep. And because we were 6 people in 2 rooms, it was kind of, yeah, tight, right? Um, so I go to sleep on that air mattress, and a friend of mine went out with the other 2. So they go out, they go smoke a joint. What do I know? I go to sleep, I relax, fall asleep, and then my friend comes back and lays on the same mattress, air mattress as me, of course. So as he lays on the left side, I just get bounced, bump, like whip. And every time he moved, I felt it. Every time I moved, he felt it. But I'm not sure if he really felt that or if he just slept because he really, to me, it seems like he's sleeping so deep. So yeah, I was going to sleep at like 2 or 3 in the morning, probably 3. And I wake up at 8 because the windows in the room weren't opened. So we were 4 people in a small room and the air is now really bad. The curtains were not closed. So now it's also getting bright inside this room. And my friend is turning and moving and bouncing me on this mattress. I'm like, no, I'm done. I can't. It's like I won't continue sleeping like this. So yeah, I start doing my yoga session and I start going about my morning, and everybody else starts to wake up. And before everyone was awake, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm gonna get some breakfast for everyone, and then everyone can have a bite to eat, and so on, right? Like as I think, as I live. I love to share. I love to be with you and kind with you. And if I go get myself breakfast and I'm up early, I'm gonna get you something as well, because when you get up, you're gonna be hungry as well, right? Well, life taught me that not everyone is supposed to eat with you. Not everyone is eating at your table, and not everyone wants to eat at your table. So, yeah, anyway, I got the food, we ate breakfast, and then we continued about our day. And at night, we had the event and so on. And it was a lot of fun. But I just realized how I got like so drained. I got so drained. And the thing is, there were quite a lot of people in that label, in that group, like not the people coming to dance, but the people actually hosting that event, that just saw something in me that obviously reflected the light that they have within themselves. They saw that, but instead of like getting inspired by that, or instead of realizing that they can do that too, they got triggered by it. And they fired that right back at me, trying to keep me small, trying to attack me, and trying to feed off my energy. So I was in a constant battle actually up there. And why? Because I would have rather been drinking poison than to be thirsty. So I had to drink the poison to realize that it's poisonous. And it wasn't the first time that I was in a group and in an environment like that. It actually was a cycle that repeated itself. I was trying to prove my worth to a group that was committed to misunderstanding me from the beginning. I was trying to show people how much I grow and how great I can be, when all they tried to do was keep me small. That don't work. That just don't work. There are people that are threatened by your potential. There are people that are inspired by it. And there are people that see a light within you that you cannot see yourself yet. And you choose who you surround yourself with. Yes, it sounds so easy. And when I'm telling you, just leave those toxic friends you have right now, it sounds like an easy thing to do. But then the next question is like, well, but where am I going to go? Like, where are these people that see potential inside me that I cannot see myself? You know? Where are they? And all I can say, or all I know, is that they are out there in this world and they are waiting, dying to meet you. But your current self is resonating with the people around you. You are currently on a level, on a frequency that's maybe down here. And your soul family, your like true new earth tribe, whatever you want to call it, the people that are really there for you, the people that want to see you grow, that want to see you fly, they're not on this level. Because you first have to do some steps by yourself. You first have to realize that you're with the wrong people. You first have to realize that you're in the wrong room. Because these other people, they're in a different room. So it's about moving so that you can get into the same room as they are in. But that means you have to leave the room you're currently in. And that means you're gonna have to go out into the hallway by yourself. because I tried to. I tried to get people with me so often. Whoa. I tried to take everyone with me, and I tried to make them see, and I tried to make them understand. But I had to learn a lesson, big lesson. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make the horse drink. What does that mean? You cannot help someone that doesn't want your help. You cannot make someone see something that they are not yet ready to see. Because if you would actually be able to make them see something that they are not yet prepared to work on, you would damage more than you would heal. Let me say that again because it's really important. When you are trying to make someone see something that they are not yet ready for, if you are actually succeeding at that, and if you are making someone see something that is not yet the level that they have to accomplish, you can do more damage than you do good. Because our whole system is wired for survival. It's wired to protect us and to ensure that we can survive. So if you experience a traumatic situation, if you experience trauma, most of the time you have not been able to release the emotion that you felt in that moment. That's why there are all these childhood traumas, because for that little body of a child, the emotion that you were or should have felt was just so intense. Your body didn't know how to deal with that intensity of energy. So it just, instead of feeling it, it suppressed it and it locked it away. That's how I look at trauma, actually. I look at trauma as blocks of energy that are kind of attached to us and to our aura. So we have these blocks of traumatic energy, of pain, of sadness, of anger that has never been felt. And that anger might have even been passed, not just might. That anger, that sadness, that grief, that hurt, it's not just yours. It has been passed down for generations. Because it gets passed down until someone is actually ready and willing to look at it and feel it. Because all that trauma wants, all that suppressed emotion wants, is to be felt, to be seen, to be recognized for what it is and not demonized. It just wants to be accepted. It just wants to be loved. It just wants to be seen, just as you. So why don't you allow yourself to love that part of you that you were not able to love back then? Why don't you give yourself the hug that you needed? Why don't you just love all of those beautiful parts that you have cast in the shadow? And I'm not saying this to attack you, because you put those things into shadow, you put those things into the subconscious because you didn't know how to deal with them at that specific time. And that's all right. That's okay. but you're not the same person that you were. You're not who you were back then. You grew, you evolved, you learned, even though it might not feel like it. I know, I know it doesn't feel like it. I know that it just sometimes, no matter how much we push and we grow, all of a sudden we just look back and the repeating pattern or topic comes in and we're like, what? What? I thought I was over this. Did I even make progress? And I'm telling you, yes, because you have just. I always look at it as holes. Every topic you work on, you dig a hole. So when you come back to the same topic, you're not digging a new hole. You're continuing to dig where you left the last time. So you're actually starting at a depth of 2 meters, 10 meters. Maybe you're starting at a depth of multiple kilometers, if we want to put it in perspective. Because you already did work. The fact that you are listening to this podcast right now is proof that you are on the path of enlightenment, that you are on the path of love, of light. But back to the shadow, back to the trauma. We have this emotion that we have never felt. All it wants to do is be felt. Energy in motion, emotion. It moves you, it moves through you. So, what is it about? Just feeling it with no judgment, just allowing it to be here and just letting it out. Cry it out, scream. What do I not know? But do everything that feels right in that specific moment. Your body might even start to shake or tense up and then release tension. What do I know? It's intense. But what happens after that? What happens after we felt an energy block that we have cast away? When you are ready to feel the energy that was always yours, but you have tried to separate it from you, you are just getting back your energy. You're getting back more of your fire. And scientifically speaking, an emotion only lasts 90 seconds. After 90 seconds, the whole chemical process and that is going on in your body comes to an end. And the emotion has been felt after 90 seconds. That's as long as a reel. Actually, most reels are shorter than that, but let's just go with that, right? As long as a reel. That's how long your emotions truly last. But of course, when you come and you start crying and you're sad, and then in your brain you go like, oh, why did she leave me? Why did she leave? You know? You're just restarting it again. Like if you're crying about your ex and you're constantly repeating these cycles in your brain of, oh, I don't deserve this, and why did she leave me, and why did she do, and pop, 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 pop. You won't, you won't, it just won't stop. How can it stop if you don't want it to stop? With your thoughts, you are literally commanding the emotion to stay. But once it has been felt, and once all of the thoughts and the things that have been attached to it have been set and have come out, the pain, the sorrow, the anger, the hurt eventually stops. And once it stops, that energy is now yours. It was yours to begin with. but it's yours again because you reclaimed that wonderful, wonderful energy of yours. That's what shadow work is. Figuring out what parts of me can I not love? What parts of me am I hiding from others and myself? Because the thing is, when we put on a mask to fool the earth, when we put on a mask to fool the whole world, at some point we forget that we are wearing a mask because we are doing everything to make others believe that the mask is who we are. And if you're putting in so much energy into making sure that others believe that you are someone you are not, eventually you start to believe that you are someone you are not. Eventually you will forget that you are wearing a mask. And eventually you will forget what you have been hiding all this time. Woo! Woo! So from there, it gets really interesting. Because these patterns, these things that we have accepted to be who we are, they're still running. You're running on them right now. That might be the reason why you can't say no. That might be the reason why you're a people pleaser. That might be the reason why. Why? But at the end of the day, it's just about being there. You know? It's like feel. Just feel. Just be. Allow yourself to be. Be more in silence. Isn't it beautiful? I just love this. This being, this sitting. And I love when the things that I actually wanted to tell you also start to come back. So the thing is, once we have forgotten that we are wearing a mask, we need other people to tell us that we are wearing a mask. And the thing is, on a subconscious level, everybody around you notices when you are not being authentic. Everybody around you notices that you are betraying yourself. Whew. And they don't want to be around that kind of energy. So that's why you might have trouble keeping friends or even finding friends that respect you. Because when they look at you and their subconscious perceives you, it perceives a person that's not respecting themselves. And if you're not respecting yourself, how can you expect someone else to respect you? Like, if you treat yourself like shit, and other people watch you do it, you are literally giving other people the permission to treat you like shit. And they will, because you taught them to treat you this specific way. People don't treat you the way they want to treat you. At first, yes, but after a certain period of time, people treat you the way you taught them it is okay to treat you. If you're always doing everything for everyone and they go, thank you so much that you did this for me, and you're like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. Anytime for you, my bro. They're perceiving that it's not that big of a deal that you helped them. And the more you do it, the less they're gonna be thankful for the work you did for them. Because it's obvious that you're gonna do the work, right? Like, if I ask you if you can do this for me, you're gonna do it for me because you're scared to lose the friendship. You're gonna do everything just to keep me in your life. That's dangerous. Whew. Get out of that mind state. What are you trying to do with it? Where are you trying to go with that? That can't work. If the relationship with another person is more important to you than yourself, it makes you really easy to manipulate. Like other people can just manipulate you because they want to, and they see it. If you're gonna do just everything to keep me in your life, well, every time I put our relationship on the line, you're gonna bend over backwards. How long did it take me to realize and learn that? Oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm still learning it because it's always a process and it's always about, yeah, realizing that we are students of life, that we came here to learn and teach at the same time. There's this beautiful quote that is staying on my mind day in and day out, recently at least. And it's, what you came to learn, you came to teach. What you came here to learn, you came here to teach. Because the path of the student is the path of the teacher. A true Jedi always stays a Padawan. I never watched Star Wars, but a rapper I like dropped that line. And the way I understand it is, if you really want to be the greatest, if you really want to be the best at what you don't stop. Because those that are on the top, they keep going. They are there because they kept going. And those that stay at the top because they don't lose their fire. They are not done yet. That's why they're staying at the top. Because for them, it was never about getting to the top, it was about something else. Something greater than that. And that sparked the fire within them and pushed them beyond their limits. Ah, so, yeah, I would say, let me check how far we're into this episode. 1 hour, 9 minutes. Well, I guess that's good. That's good for now. I was so worried that I'm not able to speak long enough on a podcast episode. And now I'm just sitting here, no preparation whatsoever, just asking my heart what question I should open with. And they go, yeah, what question should you open with? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So I'm sitting here, just having fun with you, to be honest, working on my own things and thoughts and trying to understand my things from a different perspective. That's why I speak about it, because I'm sure you have experienced that before. You go to ask a friend for help, and as you are explaining to them the situation, you're actually figuring out the solution yourself. Because it wasn't really about asking the friend, it was more about actually defining clearly what the problem is. Because if you clearly know, if you exactly know what is my problem, what am I struggling with, you almost solved it. Because a problem is actually just a problem when you don't know what it is. Once you know what a problem is, it becomes a challenge because you can do something about it. A problem is only a problem if you don't know what's missing. Like, you can't fail if you know what's missing. If you know what things you have to add the next time you're doing this, you're not going to fail again because you know what's missing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying all the way till the end. I cannot tell you how happy I am right now to have you here with me on this journey, on this beautiful journey of life, which I'm not saying is easy, Ooh, but it's absolutely worth it. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. Stay amazing. I love you. And see you in the next episode on New Moon.